Okay, nice to meet everyone in this session. So, by the way, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Teacher Levy, and I will be your teacher or madam for this wonderful session. Okay? Yes, but before we start, I would like to know how's everyone doing? Yes, how are you guys doing? Yes, are you doing good? Right? So if you're doing good, you can say, I'm good. You can also say, I'm great. Say it, speak it. If you are spectacular, you can say, I'm spectacular. Yeah, try to speak it. Okay, good. Very good, everyone. I can hear most of you says, you're doing great, doing good. Good job. You can also use our chat box. Yes, we have our chat box. You can maximize it. It means you can write anything you wanted to say using our chat box that is also related to our topic later on. Okay? Yes, okay, great. So there you go. I think everyone is doing great. Yes? Okay, good. So if you're going to ask me, maybe I think some of you are asking me, I'll say, yeah, I'm pretty well. Teacher is doing good. Okay? Yeah, so for today's lesson, what are we going to learn? We are going to talk about mountains. Okay, we're going to talk about the mountain. Okay? Right. So we will not only talk about, just the name of the mountain, but actually we're going to talk about the parts of the mountain. Yes, we're going to talk about some interesting things about the mountain. Okay? Right? Okay. But before we start, maybe most of you know this one. Do you know is what is the highest mountain in the world? Do you have any idea what is the highest mountain in the world? Okay, maybe some of you had heard about it before. Maybe. Yes, you can use our chat box or you can speak it. Yes, do you know what's the highest mountain in the world? Yes? Okay, I heard someone says the Mount Everest. Yes, very good. You're right on that, my dear. Okay, so the Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. Okay, so there you go. That's just for our warm up. A very simple question, right? And now let's take a look in here. I'll share to you our lesson for today. So, as I told you earlier, we're going to talk about the parts of the mountains. Okay, right. So, what do you see in the picture? You see here a mountain. Right? I think this mountain is really high because you can see the foggy part, right? Yes, you can see the clouds, right? Okay, so we have here a question for everyone. So, children, do you like climbing mountains? Okay, everyone. Now you can speak if you do, you say, yes, I do. I like climbing mountains. Or if no, you can say, no, I don't like climbing mountains. Okay? Right. You can also use the simple answer like, do you like? So the question starts with, do you? Yes, we usually say, yes, I do. But if no, we say, no, I don't. Okay, everyone, do you like climbing mountains? Do you like climbing mountains? Okay, you can speak it. Is it this one or this one? Yeah, this one or this one? Okay, do you like climbing mountains? Oh, I heard most of you says yes, I do. Yes, you like climbing mountains. Some maybe says no, I don't. Maybe because it's tiring. Yeah, it's really tiring to climb a mountain, but it's worth it because you'll be able to have a good exercise, right? So maybe you can try climbing sometimes. But of course, when you go climbing, you should have your parents with you or someone to look after you because it's really dangerous to climb the mountains by yourself, especially when you're a kid. Yes? Okay, if you're going to ask me, I'll say yes, I like climbing mountains, right? Okay, it's cool and it's really a good exercise to go trekking. Yes, to go hiking. Yeah, so hiking, that could be climbing mountains, right? Okay, or trekking. Yes. All right. So there you go. Now, as I've told you earlier, what is the highest mountain in the world? That's the Mount Everest. Yes. Okay, cool. So now let's learn the parts or some parts of the mountain. So maybe when you climb mountains in the future, you would know, oh, I'm at the mountain peak now. Yes, what is the mountain peak? Now let's take a look and learn about it. Okay, here we go. Oh, but first, okay, I'm gonna have here additional warm up for you guys. So what do you see in the picture? I see the mountains in here and I see the sunlight, right? It's really a good view when you climb mountains during the sunny day, especially during the morning or maybe during the during the after or late afternoon because you see the sunset in the morning, you see the sunrise, right? Okay. In the morning, you see the sunrise, and when you are at the peak or at the top of the mountain, you see a beautiful view of the sunlight. We call that sunrise in the morning. And in the evening, if you're still at the peak or at the top of the mountain, right, or maybe in the higher part of the mountain, then you can see the sunset, right? You can see how beautiful the sunset is, right? Okay, it's in the morning, we call it sunrise. In the evening, or maybe not evening, in the late afternoon, we see the sun or the sunset. Okay? Yes, everyone? Okay, so now let's take a look. I see this mountain. The mountains are all green, right? We can see the evergreens. Okay, later on we will know what are those evergreens in here. Okay, but first, I've told you earlier we have the mountain. Okay, that's actually what we call the mountain. So this one is the mountain. Okay, maybe if you can say it's gray, so it's made of rock. So this one is the mountain. So some mountains are like this. There aren't any trees, but because the mountain, like for example, Mount Everest, I use that. Oh, if you remember, I told you the highest mountain in the world is the Mount Everest, right? The Mount Everest doesn't have any trees at all. Why? Because it's very cold in that mountain. If you go in there, and if you go to the highest part of the mountain, it's really very, very cold and it's full of snow. So, if if you know about the winter season, when it's winter, all the trees, no, they will not really die, but the plants will not grow during the winter time. Yes, so some mountains don't have evergreens or trees, right? And anyway, we're talking about the peak, mountain peak. Or in other words, we also call it the mountain top. Yes, this is the mountain peak, or we call it the mountain top. Yes, I made an example. Okay, let's remember again the highest mountain in the world is the Mount Everest. It's very difficult to go to the mountain peak of Mount Everest. Only a few people can really climb to that mountain, climb to the peak of the mountain. Yes? Okay. Those who are brave and really, strong enough to climb mountains. Yes, not only that it's very high, but it's also freezing in there. It's very, very cold. Okay? Right. So one more time, what do we call the mountaintop in here? We could also call it the mountain peak. Everyone say peak. Mountain peak. Good job. Okay. Or mountaintop, right? Okay, cool. Very good, everyone. But do you have any questions? Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to use our chat box to send your questions. Okay? Yes, don't be shy. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Asking questions is really a good way to learn as well. Okay? One of the wisest way you can do to learn more or to clear those doubts or confusion you have in your minds. Okay? Yes. Okay, so one more time, what do we call this part of the mountain again? The mountaintop? We also call it the mountain peak. Yes. Okay, maybe some of you can take down notes, right? So maybe later on you will be using it when we have our poll questions. Okay, cool. Now let's learn more. Okay, not only the mountain peak, but we also have this. What is this big stone in here? Do you know? Do you know? Yes. Okay. This big stone is here is what we call the cliff. Okay. So we have here a definition of the cliff. It says here a cliff is a high area of land with a very steep side, especially one next to the sea. Okay. Or maybe in simple words, it is, like a big rock. Yes. Underlying the mountain. And like here, this one is the cliff. Yes, usually, we can also see a cliff by the sea sometimes, right? By the sea, where people actually love to dive from the cliff going to the water. We can also see the cliff when we usually go to the mountain peak, and we can see the cliff in there. Yeah, many people love to go to the cliff, to see the beautiful view, but the cliff is also quite dangerous, so do not go beyond this area. All right, maybe if you go in there, you have to make sure that it is safe. Yes? Okay. So this is what we call the mountain cliff. Okay? Yeah. So, it's really very dangerous if you go in here and then you slip. Oh no. Okay? Yeah. So, when you climb to the mountains, it's really good to go to the mountain cliffs, but you just need to be careful, right? Yes. Okay. So, again, what do we call this part of the mountain? Very good, everyone. Yeah, again, you speak it, the mountain cliff. Okay? Right. Okay. So for me, I don't like going to the mountain cliffs because I'm afraid of heights. It means I'm afraid of high areas like this one. Okay, the one we can see in the picture. Okay, everyone. Everyone, what do we call this part of the mountain again? This high part or high area where some people will really have, what do we call that one? The diving. They can, right, jumping, diving in here, right? Okay, but it's really dangerous. You have to practice. You have to be with an expert, with a teacher or a coach before you can do jumping on the mount, on the mountain cliff. Okay. Yeah, so very good, everyone. So, do you have any questions? Okay, if you have any questions, now feel free to put your questions using our chat box. So, again, what do we call this one? The mountain cliff. Okay, cool. So, here we go, everyone. Let's learn more. We also have, yeah, this one is the cliff. Okay, cool. So, maybe some of you are actually taking down notes. That's good. So it will be easier for you to remember later on when we have the poll question. Not only that, but after the session, it's really good that you have a short review, or maybe you review those words you've learned again so that you will remember them in the long run. Yeah, not only in this session, right? Yes. These vocabularies are very, very simple, but maybe one day they will be very useful to you. Because when you're reading poems, when you're reading speeches, and then you will see these words. They're simple, but if you're not familiar to these words, then it will be very hard for you to understand. Yes? Okay, so there you go. This is what we call the cliff. Okay, that's also the reason I am giving you a picture so you would see exactly what am I talking about, right? What is that cliff? It's hard to imagine, especially when you haven't seen it before, right? Okay, cool. So everyone, there you go. Let's learn more. Okay, do you see an arrow in here? There is an arrow, a red arrow pointing to the ground area of the mountains. It's still part of the mountain, or maybe this part would be the valley too, or the valley too. Okay, so this is the bottom or the ground area, or we call this one the flower bed. Okay, so this one is the mountain bed. Mountain bed. Okay. So the mountain bed would be the bottom, the ground area. Of course, before you climb the mountain, usually you will be on the ground area, or at the bottom area, right? And we also have here the flower bed. Okay, we actually go, where are you? I'm at the mountain bed. Maybe you're at the bottom. You're saying you're at the bottom, right? The mountain bed. Okay. So, okay, you see, the mountains also have beds. Okay, that's really quite funny. But yes, mountains have beds too, like the bottom area, the ground area. Like before you climb the mountains, you will be stepping on the mountain bed, right? The ground area of the mountain. Yeah. So this one is the mountain bed. Here is the mountain, and here's the mountain top or the mountain peak. Yeah, and here is the cliff, right? Usually this one is the cliff. In here, it's like a high area with a very steep side, right? Okay, where people can sometimes do diving and then jumping. Yes, yeah, we have those kind of activities, but those activities are really very dangerous activities. Yes, wherein children like you are actually not allowed to do it without a teacher or without a coach. Yes, okay. Yes. So there you go. Again, what do we call this one? This one is the mountain bed, or we call this one the flower bed. Yes, the ground area. Okay. Do you have any questions? Let's learn more. Yeah, so maybe some of you, or I think I see some of you are actually taking down notes. Very good. So it will be easier for you to remember later on and for your review as well. Maybe for the others, yeah, it's also good, when it's easy for you to remember things, like maybe you're sure that you will not forget those words. That's also good. It's also good to listen. But like me, I love to listen and write too, you know? Okay. So now let's learn more. Oh, do you see three arrows? Yeah, what do we call this place? Yeah, we know this one is the part of the mountain, but this part of the mountain, we actually call it forest. When you say forest, there are lots of evergreens. Okay, that's what we're gonna talk about. The evergreens are actually those trees with green leaves that fill the forest with green color. We call those evergreens. Okay. Yes, the forest is full of trees, and actually, this is where we can see the wild animals too. Yes. When there are so many trees, so many evergreens, okay, wild animals love to live in the evergreens because the mountains with or the forest with lots of trees will help the animals to build a home. Yes, because if the mountain or let's say the forest don't have any trees at all, how can the wild animals get their food and how will they build their homes, right? Yeah, so there you go. We call those evergreens, okay? The evergreens are actually how do you call this one? The evergreens are actually the trees with green leaves throughout the year or maybe throughout the season, right? Okay, let's say what season, like for example, the spring season, right? The summer season, but actually in the autumn season, the leaves in some places where they have the winter season, during the autumn season, the green leaves will become brown or maybe yellow and they will start to fall. So in the winter, the evergreens will turn into like, white because of the snow and all the leaves have fallen down. But yeah, we call those evergreens, those trees with green colors. Okay. Yes. Oh, what's it? Maybe I think some of you were asking what's the difference between the forest and the mountain. The mountain, we call it mountain. mountain if it has, it doesn't matter whether it has trees or maybe it doesn't have any trees at all, because the mountain is the big one that form like a, like a volcano. Yes, yeah, we call that one mountain. But for the forest should have trees, of course. Yes, forests have the evergreens. Okay, where the wild animals live. Most of the wild animals live. Okay. Right. Like for example, the Mount Everest. The Mount Everest don't have any doesn't have any trees because the Mount Everest is very cool. I mean very cold, and mostly the part of the mountain is filled with snow. Okay? Right. And what do we call this part? Yeah, the top of the tree we call it tree tops right here. The tree tops. Yeah, the peak. Yeah, the tree tops. Yes. Okay, here are the tree tops. So you can see the tree tops, right? Yes, you can see the evergreens and you can see the evergreens tree tops, right? So here, the very top of the tree, of course, we call them tree tops. Okay? Yes. Do you have any questions? Clarifications? Yes, children. The forest should have trees, should have evergreens. Okay? Cool. Right. So let's learn more. We also call this, what do we call this? Tiny, tiny, tiny plants in here. So this tiny plant is called moss, okay? Moss, okay? Moss or moss, okay? So what is this moss? A small flowerless green plant that lacks true roots, growing in a damp habitats and reproducing by means of spores released from stocked capsules. Oh no, that definition is quite complicated. But basically, the moss doesn't grow flowers. Okay, so it's just a kind of tiny plants you know um like it's green, and then it lacks roots too, and then it doesn't grow flowers. So it's just green and it doesn't grow that big too. So this is what we call the moss. And we can usually see the moss yeah, in the forest. Yes. Okay. When some people actually go to the forest, to get the moss and to use it as a decorations. Yes, as a decoration, maybe in an event, in the houses. So what do we call these tiny things in here? We call them moss. Okay. Okay, the moss doesn't grow flowers. So that's why it says here a small flowerless green plant. Yeah, so a small flowerless green plant. Okay, flowerless because the moss doesn't grow flowers. Yes. Okay, so it will just stay green, okay, forever, you know? Yes, and we can usually find the moss in the forests. Yes? Okay. Yes, and sometimes, and most likely they are just by the tree. Yeah, the moss. Okay, cool. All right, so there you go. Now let's learn more. This kind of plant is what we call the moss. Okay? Yes, very good, everyone. Now let's take a look in here. So we have here two circles and three arrows. So we're going to learn this part. So maybe some of you are familiar. What do we call this one? A river? Yeah, kind of river, but it's smaller than a river. But let's start first. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at these small stones in here. What do we call them? Yeah, some are confused saying, "Oh, they're rocks." Yeah, they're rocks. What specifically kind of rocks? They are what we call pebbles. Okay. Why do we call them pebbles? Because these pebbles are actually smooth because of the water. Flowing water. The water makes them smooth, and these pebbles are really small, not rough. Yes, so that's why we call them pebbles. And most of them have this kind of shape. Like some of them are oblong or what we call oval, some are circles, right? And some are with, different shapes, but most of them are, circle type or maybe oval shapes. Yes, and they are really smooth. Yes. Okay. Unlike the rocks, most of the rocks are rough. Yes. Okay. What do we call this one? The one with flowing water. We call it the stream. Yeah. Some of you said it's a river. Yeah, you're also right on that. So a stream is kind of river, but the stream is smaller than a river. So if it is smaller than a river, we specifically call it the stream. Okay. Yes. And what do we call this one? Like a small fall, right? Waterfall in here. Yeah, okay. And of course, I mentioned to you the rock. Okay, the big rocks. Okay. And we have here the small stones. We call them pebbles. Okay? Pebbles. Okay, so everyone, what do we call this one? The stream is, now you have to remember this one. The stream is smaller than a river. Okay, one more time. I'll say, what do we call this kind of flowing water that is smaller than a river? Okay, this one is smaller than a river. Everyone recited? Very good. I heard stream. So the stream is smaller than a river. Okay, take notes on that. The stream is smaller than a river. Okay, so what do we call these? Okay, these smooth small stones in here, we call them pebbles. Okay, right. Okay, and these big ones in here, the rough ones, then we call them rocks. Okay? Yes, the rocks. So there you go. Let's learn more. Okay. Now, have you ever seen this kind of place before? Yeah, I have seen this kind of place before, just once. Okay, and it's really hard to reach this part of the mountain sometimes. So we call this the waterfall, right? So anyway, the waterfall actually this is like a cliff, the cliff part of the mountain wherein the water will fall from the cliff going down in here and it creates a waterfall. Yes? Okay. Yeah. So this one is what we call the waterfall. It's like a high area or like there is water flowing from the cliff going down in here that creates the waterfall. So this one is the waterfall because the water falls from the cliff from the high area and going down in here, it will create a river after the waterfall. Maybe after that, it will continue to a river and to a stream, maybe, and going to the lake, right? Or going straight to the sea. So everyone, what do we call this place again? This one is a waterfall. Have you ever been to a waterfall before? Yeah, I have been to a waterfall, but just once in my life. Okay, that was when I was a kid, right? Our teacher brought us to waterfall, but we have to trek. We have to climb mountains. So you see, when we climbed the mountains, we were with our teachers. Okay, so they were all looking after us. Mhm. Yes, because when you climb mountains, there were big cliffs, maybe big rocks that you have to climb on. Yes, or you have to step on, and then you have to be very, very careful. Yes, because our teacher wanted us to see the beautiful waterfall. Okay? Yes, so everyone, there you go. This is what we call the waterfall. Let's learn more. So, what is this? Yeah, this one is the mountain part. Okay, this one is these are the evergreens, and we can also see the moss, right? Yes, we can see the moss on the mountain bed. And what do we call this part specifically? We call that the valley. So, what is the valley? We have here a definition like a low area of land between hills or mountains typically with a river or stream flowing through it. So basically, this one is the valley. It's the low area of the land, or what we call them the mountain bed too. Yeah, the valley is also like on in the mountain bed. The valley is where people can build houses, you know. Some people will build houses, they will build communities here in the valley, right? So it's the bottom area, it's the mountain bed, like usually between the hills or mountains, right? So let's say this one is a mountain, and on the other side is a mountain. So there is something in the middle. So that is the low area of land that where people can maybe build houses, or where we can see the streams, or there could be a river as well, right? Flowing through it. So one more time, we call this one the valley. Yes. So in the valley, we can also see the mountain bed, the flower bed, right? Yes, in the valley. Okay, so there you go. Now let's move on to the next one. So before we go to this poem, I'd like to ask you, do you have any questions? Clarification. So anyway, as I've told you earlier, if you have any questions, don't be shy, don't be afraid to ask questions, okay? Yes, because asking questions is really a good way to, to to learn something, to clear the confusions you have in your mind, right? Okay, so there you go. We have another activity in here. I've shown it to you earlier. So we are going to read a poem. Okay. Yes, so here is a poem, a simple poem that we can read, and we have an activity later on. What are we going to do? You are going to find the words that we have mentioned earlier. Yes, we actually have a few words in this poem. Yes, and of course, you will remember them. You know the meaning because we have learned it earlier. Yes, so but before that, we're going to have a speaking practice. So we're going to speak this poem, okay? What's the title? When we say title like this one, yeah, the title of the poem is I Am the Mountain. Okay, everyone, let's speak this one. Maybe you can speak it after me. Yeah, say it after I say. Okay, so I am the mountain. Let's start. Okay, let's start in three, two, one. Everybody, I am the mountain. I am nature's oldest temple. Okay, my glaciers and streams provide the water you drink. Good. Next one. My forests, your wood, your clean air. Nice one. Okay. From up here, I see how you've come to treat this world. Good. You used to recharge your body and soul in the calm of my forests. Okay? Good job, everyone. You once climbed my peak, seeking enlightenment. Good job. Nice. Now you take what you want and contemplate only your own gain. Very smart, everyone. Good. Open your eyes while there's still time. Nice one. Good. Because there's one more thing I see clearly. The cliff you're on and the rocks below. Very smart. Okay, so this one is I am the mountain farm. So maybe you can take a picture if you have, something you can do to take a picture of this poem. Or if you're really, really very fast at taking down notes, then that would be good. But maybe you can just remember, you can just try to, take a picture if you can, right? Yes. So later on, you'll try to recite this poem again. Yes. Okay. So one more time, maybe we can read again if you want. Okay. So, but this time we can try to make it a little quick, right? Yes, but that's okay. Yeah, you can just follow, right? Whatever you can, not necessarily making it perfect this time because we're just practicing. And I think most of you have seen this poem for the first time. Yes? Yes. So here we go. I am the mountain. I am nature's oldest temple. Good. My glaciers and streams provide the water you drink. Good. My forests, your wood, your clean air. From up here, I see how you've come to treat this world. Good. You used to recharge your body and soul in calm of my forests. Good job. You once climbed my peak, seeking enlightenment. Very good. Now you take what you want and contemplate only your own gain. Very good. Open your eyes while there's still time. Good job. Because there's one more thing I see clearly, the cliff you're on and the rocks below. Okay, cool. Nice one. So now, after reading this poem, I want everyone to remember. I want you to find those words we have learned earlier. Or maybe if you have taken down notes, it will be easier for you to find it. Okay? So just try to find. Maybe you can write using our chat box or you can try to say it. Yes, later on, I'm going to show you those words we have learned or, that is included in this poem. Okay, there are only a few words, maybe less than 10. Yes? Okay, I'll make an example. I'll find one and I want you to find the others too. Okay? Yes. Okay, let me see. Earlier we've talked about the stream, yeah? Or streams if many. Yeah, two or more, like two streams, one stream. Yes, can you try to find the others too? Good. Maybe I'll give you a few seconds to. Oh no. Yeah, a few seconds maybe to find it or to find them. Maybe you can read again. Yes. Okay, I find one in here. So streams. Okay, we had that earlier. I told you the stream is smaller than the river, right? Okay, the stream is smaller than the river. Very good. I think some of you were writing using our chat box. So this is just a warm up before we can have our poll question. Okay, cool. Nice one, everyone. Keep it up. Yes, so streams, I see forests. Some of you have written forests. Good job. Yeah, actually we have that. We have learned that. When we say forest, that could be where we can see the evergreens. That is where our wild animals, most of our wild animals lives because there are lots of evergreens, the trees, right? Good. The forest, we have one more forest in here. Cool. Very good, everyone. So you know that one, you see? So I told you earlier, it's really good to learn the simple words so that we would, because one day you'll be reading a poem, a speech, and then you will see, at least you would remember or you would know the meaning of some words, maybe not all. Yes? Okay, so forest, what else? Very good. I see someone say peak. Yeah, that's the mountain top, right? My peaks. That would be the mountaintop. Very good. What else? I think there's one more. I think maybe not only one. Let's take a look here and we see. Okay, we got here the rocks. Yeah, the rocks, the rough ones, the big ones with rough surface, right? Yes, and the cliff, that is a very steep part of the mountain where some people would do diving, mountain diving, or maybe some would do, like if the cliff is by the sea, they will do diving into the water from the mountain cliff, right? From the cliff. Okay, so we've found how many one? I think one. Let's consider forest, the two first as one word. So stream, forest, B, and cliff, and then the rock. So we have five words, right? So there you go. As I've told you, if you have a way to take a picture of this poem, then you can also take a picture. Okay, maybe you can also do a print screen if you know how to do the print screen already using your computers. Or maybe using your tablets, or if you're using a phone, you can also do the print screen. Yes? Okay, yeah. So maybe let's give 5 seconds or maybe a few seconds for the others to take a picture if they really want to have a copy of this poem, right? Okay, cool. There you go. And then after this one, we're going to have a very short question and answer activity just for us to remember what we have learned right in this session. Cool. So there you go. I have to move to the poll questions. Yes. Okay. Now, all right. So now let's take a look in here. Okay, there you go. We are going to have our poll questions. All right, so how will these poll questions? Um, right, so here we go. Let's start. So a question is coming on your screen, children. So I'll be stopping this one first. So children, a question is coming on your screen, and then you choose your answers based on the question. Sorry, options or choices to be given to you. Okay. So here is the question. A low area of land between hills or mountains, typically with a river or stream flowing through it. The options are A, cliff, B, valley, C, evergreen. Okay, there you go. Now you mark your answers. So one more time, the question is a low area of land between hills or mountains, typically with a river or stream flowing through it. The options are A, cliff, B, valley, C, evergreen. Okay, I'll give you a hint too. Basically, this valley, oh, sorry, yeah, I think if you were listening, I think I mentioned the answer. So this place is where people would uh, build their houses, would live, because there would be rivers where they can get water or stream where they can get water, right? So what is that one? Okay, I think I slept. Now you try to figure out with what would be the answer. So which part of the mountains would this be? So it's usually in between hills and mountains. So in between, there would be a flat land where people can build houses, or maybe where the rivers or the streams are flowing. Yeah. Okay, so I'll give a few seconds for the others to give their answers, and later on I'll be counting down too. Okay? Yes. Okay, very good. So now a few seconds and I'll be starting the countdown. Okay? Cool. There you go. So now you mark your answers. The clock is ticking. Keep it coming. I think most of you have given their answers. Very good. And most of you have speak, especially the little ones. They have spoke their answers. Okay, good job. But later on, let's see if your answers are correct. Okay? Okay, cool. So in five, four, three, two, one. It's time to show the answer. So everyone, okay, I'll be showing the answer. Let's not waste a lot of time in this question. So the answer will be letter B, valley. Yes, that is the low area of the land between the mountains or the hills. Okay, cool. So now let me check. Wow, very good. Most of you have gotten the correct answer, and I heard earlier too, most of you have spoke the correct answer. So you guys are very brilliant. So keep it up, okay? But that's not it. We have one more. We have more. Two more questions to go, okay? But here we go. The second question would be, it will come on your screen too. So the question is, it is smaller than a river. The options are A, stream, B, valley, C, evergreen. Okay, one more. The question is, it is smaller than a river. The options are A, stream, B, valley, C, evergreen. Okay, now you start marking your answers. The clock is ticking. This one is smaller than a river. Yes. So it's also a flowing water. It looks like a river, but it's smaller than a river. So if it's big, it's a big type of flowing water in between hills or mountains, we call that a river. But what if it is smaller? This is where people sometimes, because when you're in the mountains, most of these flowing waters are actually clean. I mean, yes, you can drink from it, but not all. Yes, not all flowing water you can see in the mountain are actually clean, okay? Yes. Right. So there you go. Now you start marking your answers. The clock is ticking. Yes, very good. Let me try to take a look. Yes, some of you have given their answers already. So keep it coming. Keep it up. Okay. And I heard some of you have spoken yes to the answer, but I will not say which one is right. Okay. Because let's wait for the others to give their answers, and later on, we're going to see whether your answers are correct. Okay? Okay, so keep it coming. And later on as well, we'll be counting down to give a chance for the others to rush and flip their answers. Okay, but also if you make mistakes, that would be fine. Don't be so discouraged or disappointed because it's a way of you learning. But of course, when you make mistakes, you need to make sure that you're going to remember the right answer. So the next time around, you will be marking, you will be getting the right answer. Okay, we have to learn from our mistakes. Okay, cool. So, children, I'll be counting down. Okay, 5 seconds, and then we are going to show the answer. Okay, yes, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so everyone, it's time for us to show the answer. Let's not waste a lot of our time in this question because we have one more question later on. But of course, let's show the answer first. What's the answer? Yeah, I heard some of you say stream. What letter is stream? It's letter A. And wow, very good. Most of you have gotten the correct answer. Very brilliant. And I also heard for those who said stream, very good. Okay, nice one. Okay, but for the other, that's okay. You just need to remember, okay? Yes. Okay, don't be discouraged. It's also one way of learning. Okay, you just need to remember that the stream is smaller than a river. Okay, you are all smart. Okay, very good, everyone, for participating in this question. But we have one more. Okay, so again, the same thing. You just need to mark the answer. I'll be giving you options too. So the question is a small flowerless green plant that lacks true roots growing in damp habitats. So the options are A, moss, B, evergreen, C, forest. One more. The question is a small flowerless green plant that lacks true roots growing in damp habitat. The options are A, moss, B, evergreen, C, forest. Okay. Now you start marking your answer. Your answer. So what do we call this one? And I've told you some people will go to the forest to get this moss to make it as a decoration. When they're making a landscape or when there's an event and they want it maybe nature's theme, and they're going to get some of this plants From the forest. Okay, you start taking your answers. I can see here that some of you have given their answers using the chat box. Very good. Okay, and I heard some of you have speaking the answer too. Very good. But let's wait for the others and let's figure out whether our answers are correct. Okay, good job. So later on as well, the same thing. I'll be counting down to give others to maybe put their answers or to rush their answers too. Okay. Yeah, so a few more seconds and then we're going to show the answer. Okay, cool. Very good. Yes, as I've told you, when you made mistakes, when answering, that's okay. Yeah, don't be discouraged. Yes, it means that you are really trying your best. You are really listening. It's just that this time you just mark the wrong one, maybe. And then it's also a way for you to remember the vocabulary in the long run. Yes, in the long period of time. Okay, so yes, I'll be counting down now. Okay, in five, four, three, two, one, zero. Okay, time's up. It's time to show the answer. So everyone, the answer is letter what? Letter A, moss. Okay, moss is that small plant that doesn't grow flowers, right? Okay, cool. Let me see. Wow, most of you have gotten the correct answer, and most of you have spoke the correct answer too. Perfect. Okay, good job. You guys are very smart. And then I really appreciate that. Um, I think almost all of you have participated in answering the questions. Very good. So keep it up. Okay, so now, of course, and now we are going to have a very short review of those vocabulary that we have learned in this session, okay? Cool. Are you ready, everyone? Yes, of course. So now we are going to take a look. Now, everybody, you recited. So, what do we call this? Peak. A mountaintop. Peak. This one is the mountain. Very good. Okay, very good. Next, this one. Please. Okay, very good. This one, valley. Good job. Okay, and this one's here, treetops. Nice one. And this one, the one we've seen in the beginning of the lesson. Okay, the sunlight. Okay, of course. We have morning, it's the sunrise. Late afternoon, we have the sunset. Okay, and we call this one the forest. Yeah, forest. Very good. Forests. Mm-hmm. And the evergreens. Very good. Yeah, evergreens. We have here the rock. Good. Moss. Thicket. Moss. Very good. Pebbles. We have the small stones with smooth surface. Very good pebbles. And we have here the stream. Good. Waterfalls. We have the small waterfalls. Good. Waterfalls. And of course, what do we call this one? The mountain bed. Okay. Yes, the mountain bed. But very good, everyone. So there you go. You just need to remember this one. Okay, these simple words. Okay, they are very simple but very, very useful. Yes. Okay. So everyone, do you have any questions? If you have any questions, feel free to put your questions using our chat box too. Yes, the mountain peak is our mountain top. Yeah, the bed would be the ground, the bottom of the mountain. Okay. Yes, we can also see that one in the valley. We have the flower bed, the mountain bed. Good. All right, so there you go, children. That's the end of our session. I really appreciate everyone for participating in this session. Okay, I'm sure you have learned a lot, and of course, you have to review your notes too. Yes, after the session, of course. So, everyone, there you go. I hope to see you again. But before we go, I would love to share to you the yellow class tip of the day. All right, before we go. So, children, okay, learn as much as you can while you're still little or you're young, when you have a lot of free time. Since one day when you grow up, you'll become an adult, you'll become, you'll have a lot of things to do, then maybe you will not have enough time to learn. Like for example, if you want to learn English, then you have to You have to learn as young as you can, but of course, you have to balance your childhood. Yes, between learning too. Make sure that you also enjoy your childhood, even if you are busy learning. Okay. Yes, we have to balance everything, of course. And also, please don't forget to share our learning workshop to your friends and to your relatives. Yes, your classmates, so that we can maybe learn and grow together, right? For us to have a better future, for everyone to have a better future, of course. So, everyone, thank you, and I'll see you again next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye. See you. Bye, everyone.